Hi, I'm Jason Radford, and today I want to talk to you about the Collective Intelligence Task Battery Wordscramble task. So here I am in my test research team. To get my own copy, I'm going to go to Add New / Clone Experiment, select the CITB Wordscramble task, give it its own name, JT Wordscramble, add. Now I have my own copy of the experiment. If I click this launch button, I'll actually play the experiment as a demo. Here I can find all of the files associated with the study. I can edit any of these files. Go to the variables tab where I can manage some of these variables that allow you to customize your study without having to go into the code. And then the last thing I'll show you is this export data tab where when people take the study, the results will start showing up in the bottom here and you can export them. So let's go to the variables. The way that the task battery is implemented in volunteer science is you have the task, typically on the left-hand side, and then you have the chat channel where participants can talk to one another about the task and strategize how to solve it. Chat channel matrix is the variable that you use to control what that chat is. So the default is all, which means that everybody talks to everybody on a single chat channel. The alternative is you can define a chat network using this construction here, this sort of dictionary construction where each of the key is a player number. So this is player number 1. And player number 1 would be on chat channels 1 and 2. In this case, player number 2 is on chat channel 1, where they talk to player number 1. And then participant 3 is on chat channel 2, where they are also talking to player 1. But in this case, person 3 and person 2 are not able to talk to one another directly. So that's setting up the chats. The next thing are these countdowns. So every experiment in the CITB has countdowns, and the reason they use countdowns is that we want to make sure that every team has the same amount of time to work on the task, including the same amount of time in the instructions and the same amount of time in the results as a way of thinking about debriefing from these tasks. So the countdown in seconds experiment is the amount of time people spend actually solving the puzzle. In this case, Wordscramble. Generally, you do 2 to 5 minutes for the experiment time. This is the amount of seconds that you spend in the instructions. We recommend 60 seconds for the instructions to give people a chance to figure out what's going on. And then the results, we typically keep at 10 seconds. And in this case, it just tells them how many words they got correct. Next, we have this next experiment variable. I'll focus on this in a separate video about how you link these tasks together. But the task battery assumes that you're going from one task to the next task to the next task. And this next experiment variable is how you control which task a person does after this Wordscramble task. If you leave it blank, this will be the only task they do or the last task in the chain. They won't go into anything else. Lastly is the show instructions variable. It's set to be true when you want to show the instructions, and you could put false if you want to not show the instructions. If you want to skip the instructions, press false and update, save it. And what this does is it allows you to skip the instructions, or anybody to skip the instructions, but the use case is you get to skip the instructions when you are testing and developing new versions of the experiment. That way you don't have to waste your time like sitting on the instructions for a full minute before you get to see whether your changes actually worked. So when you're testing and developing, set this to false. Otherwise, set it to true so that your participants see the instructions. Okay, let's do a quick demo here. I only want 10 seconds anyway for this demo, just so you can see what happens. Now this is multi-person, but I'm going to demo it as a single player. So we start off with the instructions, so the point of this, how it's scored, and then the interface, getting people used to what they're going to see in the study. Here are my words on the left that I have to unscramble, my chat on the right. I can chat in here, and I can unscramble words. This is not a word, I don't think. Yeah, family is not one of the words. So I got none. Had it been a word, it would have shown up next to the scrambled version of itself, and everyone would have seen that that word had been unscrambled. But see, I got none right, and then the task ended. Because the next experiment is not set, I don't go on to the next study. There was a demo, so it still wouldn't have gone on to the next study. So that's it. You can see, here's the data I generated. I submitted, oh, it doesn't tell you the word that I submitted, but it tells you that I submitted it too late. So the incorrect is 0 because I submitted it at the very, oh yeah, there it is. Family. Submitted at the very end. Yeah, before it was recorded. So technically it's possible to like submit something at the very end and not get counted because the study's already wrapping up. Won't happen if you're doing more than 10 seconds. Okay, so let's talk about how you customize your own version of this. So you have full access to all of these files. There's an HTML file which controls all of the pages that get shown here. So there's the timer, which is where the clock lives. There are instructions. So this is where the instructions get shown. These are the divs for the instructions. This is the results area that tells you how many you got right. And then this is the experiment area that has the word list and the chat box and all that stuff. Countdown.js is a utility function for controlling the timers. You probably will never touch this one. Data collection.js is how we control the data that's being collected and generated. So counting whether something's right or wrong, who submitted it. So how many did you get correct, for example? And then at the end of the study, pulling it all together and saving it. So here we have the data for each participant and the team data. This is the instruction text. So you can see the title, the purpose, how to play. I gotta get rid of this emergency text. That was for an early multi-person version where people kept leaving. And then adding screenshots. So if you wanted to update the interface and give people new instructions about how to use that interface, just upload the screenshot, change the name, or add in a new file name description lines object, and then add your own description. You can append it to the end here or put it in the middle, wherever it's going to be ordered. Network chat is, again, a utility function for controlling that chat system. You probably won't touch this. Player text colors are the colors that are associated with different players in the chat. Seed random is a utility function for randomizing stuff. Study links actually is not used anymore. It's archived. Template structure is the core JavaScript script for tasks in the collective intelligence task battery. They're all a little bit different because everyone has a slightly tweaked template, but this handles things like all the clocks, movement from one stage to the next, how do you initialize the study, all that kind of stuff. So anything that you want to change that's common to all of the studies, you would find that in the template structure.js. Lastly, Wordscramble.js are all of the functions and variables that are specific to Wordscramble. So this is where it pulls in the word list. It'll check whether the word is there or not, whether it was correctly unscrambled or not. Let's see. Yeah, fetches the word list, submit the unscrambled word. Yeah, updates it if it's wrong or right. A lot of little things, all specific to Wordscramble. And lastly are all these CSS files that just affect how things look and size and shape of things. So that's the Wordscramble task. Before we go, I want to show you how to post it online as a precursor to showing you how to chain these all together into a single collective intelligence task battery. So to post this online, you want to go over to the admin, click this admin button. I've already opened it up to save us all a little bit of time because this can take a while. And I have my CITB tutorial team page, which I've already opened for previous tutorials. But you can click on it or right click on it, open a new tab, and it'll take you straight to the page. This is a publicly facing page. Nobody knows that it's there because it's not indexable by Google. But you can point people here and have them take your studies. So what we need to do is we need to add a Wordscramble category. So let's call this test word scramble. you can see, I've done this alphabetically. See this random description. All right, so now I have this test word scramble tile. If I just refresh, now to the bottom. If I click this little play button, it's not going to do anything because there's no experiment associated with it. I need to go in here and add in my word scramble experiment. This is my list of all of the experiments I've ever created, which is why it's really long. Yours hopefully won't be that long. And then now we have this JT word scramble experiment associated with this test word scramble tile. So when I click the tile, then I'll actually be able to play word scramble. All right, and that's it. The next video I'm going to make is going to focus on chaining these experiments together to show you how to use that next experiment to have people start, for example, at brainstorming and then do memory matrix Sudoku transcription word scramble. So look forward to that, and let me know if you have any questions. Always here to help.